our legislators, and it's clear that the state with the governor have taken their eye off the ball. And so now it's time for new leaders with a fresh perspective, to come in and to take over these positions. I would like to introduce Brad Marston, our next state representative.
Thank you, Jennifer, and thank you all for coming tonight. It's early, but I wanted to do it later, primarily for the reason that it would save Jennifer from the Hannah Montana concert that she's taking her daughter to. But the real reason is that by doing it 5 o'clock on a Monday as opposed to 6 or 7 o'clock on a Wednesday or Thursday, I'm saving the people who have already donated to my campaign about $1,500. And I just couldn't pass it up as a teachable moment for Governor Patrick and the legislature that you can actually get things done spending less of other people's money. I am a Ronald Reagan, Jack Kemp, happy warrior Republican. I believe that the best days for this state are still ahead of us. And when I think about why, I think about the words of President Kennedy when he urged us to look not for the Republican answer and not the Democrat answer, but to look for the right answer. And I think too few of our legislators up on Beacon Hill are looking for the right answer. In fact, I think too few of them even know what the right questions are anymore. You know, maybe that's what Governor Patrick meant, when he said, we have taken all common sense out of our politics. I mean, I've never heard a Democrat legislator say with the simple clarity that Mayor Menino said, and anytime he says something clearly, it's kind of for celebration. But he said, we were up at the rededication of the Phillip Street Park. And he said, if city finances don't work, then city government doesn't work. And because we ask government to do some important things, we need a good government. A government that lives within its means. That's good government. A government that understands that it has to promote and encourage small businesses and entrepreneurs to create and grow jobs. A government where its leaders are above reproach instead of under indictment. And you know, I've been out talking to voters in the district, and they tell me that's the kind of government they want. That's the kind of government they need. That's the kind of government they expect. And that's when I turn around and said, great, send me to the State House. That's the kind of government I want to start working towards. With the message, a positive alternative, and give voters in this district and across the state the right choices, I think we can trust them to make the right decisions. I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting the senior former Governor John Sununu, and when I told him that I was running, he shook my hand and said, thank you. When I told him where I was running, he hugged me and said, bless you, you are doing God's work. And I think if I go to the voters of the district and give them the right choice, they'll send me up to the State House to do their work. So, personally, I think it's an advantage to be running against an incumbent, because incumbents have records. And to her credit, the current incumbent's record does not involve federal prosecution or local law enforcement. But it is a record. And I'm going to ask the people of this district to compare what she has done for the district with what she's done to the district. And I don't think that comparison serves her well. I'm going to ask them to contrast what she claims to support versus what she votes to support. And I don't think that contrast serves her well. Jennifer mentioned it. The vote that I'm hearing from independents, Democrats, and Republicans that disturbed people most is when she voted for Sal DeMacy weeks before he left in disgrace and was ultimately indicted. And you know, for any legislator to say that they didn't know what was going on takes either incredible naivete or willful ignorance. And it's actually more of an indictment of the system that exists on Beacon Hill, where the leaders get together, they hammer out a backroom deal in a closed-door meeting, and they come out and say, here's the bill, oh, and here's how you're voting for it. And I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to tell every voter I meet in this district, that no one in leadership, I don't care if it's Bob DeLeo or even Minority Leader Brad Jones, no one's going to tell me how to vote. Because that is the job of the voters who send me to Beacon Hill to represent them. And I'm going to insist that that's a job they take very seriously. Let me start to wrap this up first by thanking Jennifer Nassour, not only for coming to introduce me, but for getting the state GOP into a position so candidates like myself can take advantage of the greatest opportunity in 20 years to start moving this state back into the right direction. Thank you very much. Second, I'd like to just assure everybody, I am in this to win. Okay? This is my full-time job for the next 51 weeks. It has been over 30 years since a Republican has held this seat, and I think it's time we take it back.